There are three things that I'm not buying because corporations are greedy, even though I'm actually using one of them right now. When I worked in sales, I was really loyal to the brands that I bought. And that's because I didn't have the time to figure out if there was a better option out there. So once I found something that I liked, I stuck with it because the product was good. And it wasn't so much because I trusted it, but rather I didn't distrust it. Do you think I could do something like that now? Absolutely not. It feels like everything I buy lately is on trial when I buy it, regardless of whether I buy it all the time or not. These businesses have to prove to me that I should buy from them again. And that thought process didn't happen by chance. It started when I realized that certain questions kept popping up in my head with the things that I was buying. Why is that lid so hard to open? What is this texture? Why doesn't that container stay shut? Why does this taste different? Why does it spill every time I open this? Why do these bags break when I try and use them? I don't want this feature. Why do I have to pay more on my subscription because this feature has been added? Why do I have to buy a charger for a phone that used to come with a charger and wired headphones? And why is it when I type a message on that phone, I feel like I'm having a stroke because when I typed the correctly spelled words, spell check changed it to what it thought I meant, which is completely different from the context of what I typed. Furthermore, why are businesses in the US shorting people's change when they pay cash because, sorry, we don't have pennies? It's because these companies are annoyed that they have to go through us to get to our money. They are livid that they have to give us anything in return for our money at all. And that's why most of what we buy is smaller, more expensive, and just somehow worse than it used to be. Some people think this is because of an inflation crisis. Some people think that it's because of an energy crisis. And some people think that the cost of labor is just too high. I think they're all wrong. We're in a corporate greed crisis. The cost of everything has gone up because of corporate greed. People are getting paid less and are finding fewer employment opportunities because of what? Corporate greed. When corporations design every product that they sell to us to quickly become unusable, we should take that to heart. We should use our own version of planned obsolescence. We should stop giving these companies our money. Obakina, people will lose their jobs if we don't buy from these companies. People are losing their jobs with these companies because employees stand in the way of corporate profits. I get that it's hard to make these changes personally. I've been a fan of Apple since I think 1987. Our school got a couple of new Macintosh 2s, and I was one of the few students in my school who was allowed to use them. I bought my first Apple laptop, I think it was 99 or 2000. And then I bought an iPod, and then the iPhone came out. And so I got one of those. And then the iPad came out, and the same with that. All of that to say, it's an ecosystem that I've been a part of for a very long time, but I'm done with it. So, do I still have their products? Of course. I'm not going to buy new stuff just because I don't like the company anymore. When it's time to replace what no longer works, it'll be with a different brand. I'm already deciding if I'll go to Xiaomi or Huawei. Will it be hard going from a simple ecosystem like iOS to Harmony or Android? Sure, just like anything new. When I moved to Proton, it was different, but now it's not. And I want to thank Proton for partnering with me on this video. One of the biggest things that held me back from switching to Proton Mail was everything was connected to my Gmail account. But now Proton Mail allows you to connect your Gmail account directly with Proton Mail using the Easy Switch tool. And that makes it possible for you to receive your Gmail emails without leaving the Proton system. That way you can transition from Gmail while enjoying Proton's privacy benefits and not having to change all of your email habits overnight. I mean, until you're ready to completely transition over to Proton. Because we like our privacy, Proton offers plans ranging from free to business. I started with a free plan, whichever you choose to go with. I placed a link for you in the video description, along with the blog post detailing how to connect your Gmail. Proton products are open source. Thousands of experts worldwide have audited it for security. When customer experience, quality, value, usability, and trust are gone, What more do you need to happen for you to stop buying from a brand? I think that we've lost the art of being customers. I've heard people say that companies stopped caring when they started calling us consumers instead of customers, but we act like consumers. So instead of just being the person who uses the thing, let's be the person who chooses whether or not to buy it. The customer always has the power to buy somewhere else. I learned this when I was 10 when Coca Cola came out with new Coke to compete with Pepsi, which is weird. If you like Coke, you like Coke. If you like Pepsi, you like Pepsi. One is crisper, one is sweeter. They changed the recipe and called it New Coke. After having the same recipe for 99 years, they changed it. The world's most popular soda. Just saying. They changed it to compete with the soda company that was less popular. People were pissed. It took 79 days from the launch for Coke to bring back the original recipe and call it Coke Classic. The whole thing was so dumb. Calls flooded in not just to the 800 Get Coke phone line, but to Coca Cola offices across the United States. And by June 1985, the Coca Cola Company was getting 1,500 calls a day on its consumer hotline, compared with 400 a day before the taste change. People seemed to hold any Coca Cola employee, from security officers at our headquarters building to their neighbors who worked for Coke, personally responsible for the change. The CEO received a letter addressed to Chief Dodo, the Coca Cola Company. Another person wrote to him asking for his autograph because in years to come, the signature of one of the dumbest executives in American business history would be worth a fortune. Protest groups such as the Society for the Preservation of the Real Thing and Old Cola Drinkers of America, which claimed to have recruited 100,000 in a drive to bring back old Coke, popped up around the country. Songs were written to honor the old taste. Protesters at a Coca Cola event in downtown Atlanta carried signs with "We want the real thing, and our children will never know refreshment." I know that everything I just said probably sounded ridiculous, and that's not the point. The point is that a company that customers buy from made a change that nobody asked for, a change that impacted the customer experience, and they let the company know that it was not okay. Where's New Coke today? They don't make it anymore. All it took to get Coke Classic was for people who got really annoyed by changes a company made to find ways to be really annoying en masse. How can we do that in our digital age? Tell me in the comments. At this point, there are products out there that I won't even bother to annoy the company about. I just won't buy them, like Apple. And it's not that they might charge for Siri in the future. Shut up. Apart from Apple, I have two more companies that I'm quitting. Comment any brands you're quitting. Also, comment alternatives for the brands that suck. Like these corporations work together to just make everything worse, we need to work together to make it all better. Mondelez next. I'm going to let their CEO do the talking.
Is it fair to say that there's kind of widespread feeling among consumers that they're paying more and sometimes getting less? So you got smaller packets, smaller bars, higher prices. Is that perception fair?
I mean, the big question is what do you do? So you have cocoa prices going up. And from my perspective, what I believe, most consumers love their Cadbury. They want to have their daily Cadbury. But they don't want, when they were paying, I say £1, suddenly pay £1.50 or £2 for the same quantity. They would like to continue to buy something at £1. So what do we do? Yes, we reduce sometimes the size. We don't do that in a malicious way. But if we look at how consumers make their decisions, the price point at which they can buy is very important for them. People call it shrinkflation and so on, but it's not that we're trying to fool the consumer in any way or so, but it is, to our opinion, the best way to make sure that people can keep on it.
And I understand that you wouldn't necessarily want to go to a consumer and say, hey, this is a little bit smaller, but maybe a bit more transparency from consumers rather than perhaps them seeing somebody on social media saying like this Easter egg is smaller than the last year or something like that. That might be negative for your company.
Yes, and yeah, there's always discussions. How well did we announce it? From our perspective, we don't always do it on pack, but we would do it on our websites and so on. So yes, we look at that, and we will in the future, because you're probably referring to some discussions we had in Germany with the authorities there. We will make sure that we're more transparent about that.
So I guess the Oreo filling outrage from a few years ago was because of the cocoa shortage. I'm pretty sure that's why you reduce the weight of the Milka bar, making it a millimeter thinner and increasing the price, but not updating the packaging in a way that would advise customers of the change. At this age, I actually don't need what they sell anyway. My body doesn't have the processing power for what they sell. Another thing you won't see me buying is Microsoft 365. At the start of the year, they automatically gave existing customers access to new features, such as Copilot, at no extra cost for the remaining subscription period. When the subscription ended, customers were automatically rolled on to a plan with additional features at a higher price unless they took steps to either pick another plan or end their subscription. So pay more for a feature you don't want and didn't ask for and were automatically given, but was hard to opt out of. Will I miss Excel? Sure, it was my favorite program of their suite of programs, but I'll be fine without it. These companies are frustrating to say the least. In my video, Don't Eat the Rich, Starve Them, I have this exhaustive list of companies. I'll link it below. I've noticed a theme with the companies that I no longer buy from. They're all public. I think that this unending quest to increase profits has driven these companies to just be complete trash. Thank you to everyone who supports this channel with a coffee, a super chat, a subscribe, a share, a like. Your support keeps me going. And thank you for hanging out with me today. There is more to watch right here. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.